I'm Ignasius Alvin Jibran from SMP Kota Kendari, and today I will tell you a story of how the sea became salty. Long ago, there were two brothers who were named Mitsuo and Yasuo. Mitsuo and Yasuo were two brothers who never got along, even when they were little boys. They were just too different. Now they were grown-ups, they rarely spoke to one another, although their farmlands were laid side by side. Mitsuo owned a pretty big land with plenty of rice, large barns, and a beautiful house. Yasuo had a small farm of only a little rice. He went next door to ask his brother for something to eat, but Mitsuo snapped at him. "Why should I give you food? You'll just turn around and give every lazy beggar that happens to come along." Mitsuo was greedy, and he never helped anyone. Yasuo, on the other hand, was very generous and kind. He always shared whatever he had, even when he hardly had enough for himself. Yasuo did not want to fight his brother, and yet he left peacefully. His stomach gurgled loudly as he wondered what he was going to do. What would he eat? Yasuo considered this problem as he walked, making his way down into the winding road that passed his house. Soon, he met an old monk who was walking in the other direction. "What's the matter, my son?" the monk said. "Why do you look so worried?" "Well, grandfather," said Yasuo, "today I ate the last of my rice. I am hungry and I don't know what to do. In Japan, it is a sign of respect to call an elderly man grandfather." The old monk smiled. "If you go to the end of this road," the monk said, "you will see a hillside, and in that hillside, a small cave." Yasuo listened to the monk intently. He did not know what else to do. "Go inside the cave and see what you find," the old monk said, digging a pocket into his hand. "Take this with you." He handed a manju to one small wheat cake to Yasuo. Tucking the manju into his pocket, Yasuo thanked the monk, headed down the road, and started looking for the cave's opening. Immediately, Yasuo found a tiny hole at the very base of the hill. Could this be it? He wondered. He crouched down on his knees and hands, and poked his head into the hole. To his astonishment, inside the cave were dozens of miniature people scurrying about. He realized that they were Kobito, a kind of magical little men and women who live in the woods and hills. The Kobito seemed to be busy building something, but when they saw Yasuo, they all ran to safety. In a blink of an eye, they had vanished. Yasuo scratched an eyebrow, and wondering what to do next. "Hello," he said into the mouth of the cave. Just above, a whisper. "Please, don't be afraid. I won't hurt you." And then, one by one, very slowly, the Kobito reappeared, as they eyed on him curiously. Yasuo took a closer look at what they were building. It seemed to be a house, which was not even half finished, and would need a lot more to work. "I can help you build your house," said Yasuo to one of the Kobito men. "Would you like me to fetch you more wood?" The man nodded yes, so Yasuo headed into the forest to gather sticks and twigs. Soon, he returned with an armload of wood, which he put near the cave's entrance. He watched as the Kobito began to build again, moving very quickly and working very hard. Yasuo was sure their labor had made them so hungry, so he offered him his wheat cake. He watched in wonder as the little people gobbled up on the manju in a matter of seconds. Despite in the hunger deep in his belly, Yasuo grinned broadly. Nothing has made him happier than helping others. Now the Kobito were laughing and talking loudly. Yasuo stayed out of the group and watching quietly. Finally, one of the Kobito men broke out of the group and approached him. "For bringing us wood and delicious meal," he said to Yasuo, "we are going to reward you with our greatest treasure." Yasuo followed the Kobito to a large rock, which they asked him to move. Under the rock was a hole, and in the hole was a grinding stone made of two flat stones that looked like small wheels. The stones were placed on top of the other and held together by a wooden peg. There was a hole in the top stone, and next to the hole was a wooden handle. If you speak the name of something 3 times while turning the grinder to the left, the Kobito man explained, whatever you name will come out of the hole. To stop things from coming out of the hole, all you have to do is turn the handle to the right and say, please stop, and thank you. Yasuo picked up the grinder. The stone felt cold and heavy in his hand. Yasuo felt honored and happy to have received such a magical gift. Holding the grinding stone close to his chest, he thanked the Kobito and said goodbye. On his way home, he stopped to eat. He carefully held the grinder and began turning the handle to the left. Manju, 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 he said as he turned it, true to what the Kobito had promised, and much to his delight. Manju started popping out of the grinder. Yasuo gathered the cakes until his sack was full, then stuffed his pockets with them. When he had enough to eat, he turned the handle to the right to stop the cakes from coming out. Please stop, Yasuo said to the magic grinder. Thank you, he added, when no more Manju appeared. From that day on, Yasuo had everything he wanted. Still, he never forgot how poor he had been, and he continued to help the old, the sick, and the hungry. Just as he had before, soon many people were coming to Yasuo for help every day that they began to form a long line outside of his front door. Sometimes the lines snacked all the way out of the road. It was not long before Mitsuo noticed all the people visiting his humble brother's farm. He also noticed that they arrived empty-handed, but left with more food than they could carry. Sometimes they left with clothes. Mitsuo couldn't understand it. Where was Yasuo, who was so poor, getting everything? Mitsuo knew his brother couldn't possibly afford all those things. Late one night, Mitsuo decided to sneak over to his brother's house to find out what was going on. He peeked through a window and saw Yasuo bent over the magic stone. Manju, 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 Yasuo was saying. So that's it, thought Mitsuo as he watched. I'll steal the stone and move far, far away. I'll be so rich, I'll never have to work again. When Yasuo went to bed, Mitsuo slipped into his house. He filled his pockets with Manju, grabbed the grinder, and ran out into the night. He ran and ran until he came to a seashore. There he stole a boat and sailed out into the ocean. Mitsuo woke up. The sun was rising. Hungry, he ate the manju he had brought with him. Now, manjus are pretty sweet. So after them, he wanted something salty to get rid of the sweet taste in his mouth. He took out the magic stone, turned the handle to the left, and said aloud, "Salt, salt, salt." Well, of course, salt came out of the stone right away. Chunks of white salt flew out of the grinding stone in every direction. Mitsuo laughed, happy that the grinder worked so well. Moments later, the bottom of the boat was filled with thick layers of crunchy salt. "Okay," Mitsuo said to the grinder. "That's enough salt. Stop!" But the salt kept pouring out. "Stop!" he said again and again, twisting and pulling the handle to the right and to the left. His face is turning red. "Stop! I order you to stop!" But nothing happened. To throw the grinder overboard was unthinkable to the greedy Mitsuo, even though it would have been a smart thing to do. Faster and faster the salt came, until Mitsuo was buried in salt up into his waist. Only then, having no other options, he decided to throw the grinder into the ocean. But it was too late, as the boat was already sinking. Mitsuo drowned, of course, and all the salt spilled into the ocean. The Japanese believe this is how the ocean became salty. To this day, the magic grinder continues to produce salt, and it always will. Thank you all for listening. I hope you have a great day. Also, goodbye.